Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It is 9 o'clock, time for the 14 First Alert Weather Show at 9 p.m. I'm glad you're here tonight. Of course, I'm watching your comments on the 14 News Facebook page, so you can check in there if you have a question or concern, and I'll be happy to answer that here as we get through the program. So let's forage ahead here. Boy, what beautiful weather it turned out to be today. We had some clouds, of course, this morning, and cooler temperatures and drier, but that resolved with a sunny evening and a pretty sunset out there. The clearing will continue overnight, and what is ahead, or what we're watching here, will be an increase of nice in the weather. We have sunny and pleasant with cooler, another shot of cooler air moving in for the weekend. Our radar is quiet now over the tri-state, all showers and storms well to our east and south. And we're expecting maybe a little more patchy fog overnight. We had just enough rain yesterday in spots to get the ground wet enough. There might be locally just enough moisture to put up some fog in the morning. Not anticipating any delays or problems out there as a result, but just a little heads up. A pretty common occurrence really here this time of the year. Our dew points have pulled out of the 70s, which is always a good thing, and will continue to fall into the middle 60s. Right now, Indianapolis at 63. We're still in the upper 60s, so kind of muggy, but certainly nothing as compared with the last couple of weeks. For the next couple days here into Friday and the weekend, we get up to 89 again Saturday. Then we get that second surge of cooler air, and that's going to pull us down into the mid-50s by the early part of next week. Some of our coolest low temperatures since early June. And our longer range here, at least on the GFS, pretty stingy on rainfall. We're actually not expecting any rain over the next 5 to 7 days. So very quiet. Temperatures returning to near the normal range for most of the country. No outlandish heat and no abnormally cool, at least not yet. The current temps now in the tri-state, all in the low 70s now, with 70 at Lewisport, Huntingburg, Henderson at 72. We've got Fairfield hanging in with 73. Mount Carmel just a bit warmer at 75 there in Wabash County. For the evening, we will continue to fall down from that high today of 80 degrees. We actually started at 71. We will pull back into the mid-60s tonight as that drier air continues to filter in. We actually hit 102 back in 1983 on this date. Don't know if you remember that or not, but it was, trying to think where I was, and I was probably mowing lawns here in Evansville for somebody at this time of the year in 1983. I remember it was hot. That or I was moving back into Bloomington there to school. So 80 breaks our string here of, what did we say it was, 4, 7, 11, 12, 13, 14 days, nearly 2 straight weeks of 90 plus degree temperatures. We added 0.04, so just a trace of rain really at Evansville Regional Airport, although some of you had quite a bit more rain than that, and we'll check your reports here in the comments when we get on in a minute. Actually, I guess that was yesterday, right? Jeff Miller had 2/10, and Bill Raleigh had some rain at, near Bosse, I think a little bit more than that. So that was yesterday evening storms. For the month we're behind, so a drier than normal August ongoing here and still warmer than normal too. Tomorrow, another gem. We should have highs in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees, so nothing really to rock the boat here in the tri-state. We continue to watch Erin, and I'm going to show you that right now here from the National Hurricane Center. Still Category 2 as of this evening. Now that will update at 10 o'clock, so I'll have an updated strength on that on 14 News at 10. But basically, Erin is going to miss the coast, at least a direct landfall. Now there are impacts, high surf, flooding from the kind of a storm surge. The wind will be pushing the water up and creating some back flooding there, and also rip tides or rip currents, which can carry you out to sea if you're silly enough to get into the waves in these conditions. So no swimming there in the Outer Banks, and then the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay up to the Delmarva Peninsula or just south of it is where we have hurricane warnings now, and that's for hurricane conditions. A hurricane not making landfall, but instead moving on out to sea, and it will continue to go out to the North Atlantic there by Friday and the weekend, and then things should settle down along the coast. Here in the tri-state, of course, with no rain in the forecast, you're also not going to see any thunderstorm risk, but I'll turn over all the cards here just to reassure everybody. And as far as our weather's concerned, pretty much a non-issue. Big pressure gradient there, as you'd often get in a hurricane, as Erin moves on out to the east. On the European model, we remain dry through the weekend and the start of next week. We also maintain a northwesterly breeze. That's what will bring us our next shot of cool air on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. You know, we've kind of gone a while here without significant widespread rainfall. Some of you have had rain, but we will have to see how the drought monitor updates tomorrow. So I wanted to show it today, and then we'll compare tomorrow. But there are some spotty areas now with abnormally dry conditions, and those will likely increase in size. In other words, more areas drier than normal. If we don't see any more rain here in the next 5 to 7 days. 66 overnight, it'll be partly cloudy, and then up to 85 tomorrow, partly sunny. 7-day forecast is really just a piece of work here. Not a piece of cake, I guess. Well, a piece of work too. It's going to be cool and pleasant into early next week, with highs in the 70s and lows in the middle 50s. Longer range, this gets us out to the end of the month now. August the 30th showing abnormally cool across the area, which would be probably 5 to 10 degrees below the normal high, which is about 85 for this time of the year. And we also see drier than normal across the Great Lakes, which would then preclude any storm development out there. Now, you know, it only takes a tropical system in the Gulf to rock the boat here and bring moisture back up. We don't see that, by the way, but just a cautionary tale that sometimes things can change, especially in that long-range outlook. But that's what we have today. And Sylvester the cat kind of keeping an eye on me here. I have a black cat just like that, and a little menacing, but a lovey guy. So thanks to John Hampton from up there in Bridgeport, Illinois, for tonight's pet pick. Always good to see those here on the weather show at 9 o'clock. All right, I'm looking at your comments now. We've got our a lot of our regulars in here. Emma Rowland's on. Good evening. Cheyenne Hammonds is in there. Jeff Miller is enjoying being able to breathe outside again. I hear you. That, you know, when it gets muggy like that and all the pollen and everything else is hanging in the air, it is hard to breathe at times. Paula Schaefer's in. Ricky Brown, Buck White, Will Height rather. Will Raleigh loves the weather. Yes, come on fall. Okay, so you're cheering for the seasonal change. Well, it'll come. Soon enough. I mean, they're already playing football Friday night, so you know that's kind of the first sign now. It used to be falling leaves, but we'll take that first Friday night football game there. All right, yesterday when those storms moved in, this is Science Corner, by the way, a lot of you captured pictures of the sky. It kind of had those weird-looking asperatus clouds. Never have really come up with a great way to pronounce that. Asperatus, I believe, asperatus. We'll call it asperatus, almost like asparagus, but not quite. And actually, our photographer, Gabe Pantonis, got this picture. He told me while waiting in line at Taco Bell. So good use of his lunch break there to document some weather in the tri-state. But of course, the natural question is, why do the clouds look like that? And the answer is actually pretty simple after I tell it to you, I think. And it's important to note, too, that this type of cloud wasn't really classified and given a name until 2009. So it's kind of a fresh type of cloud. Doesn't mean they didn't happen before. It just means nobody really took the trouble to kind of characterize and classify the conditions that they form under and what constitutes an asperatus cloud. But Gavin Preter-Pinney did just that in 2009 for the Cloud Appreciation Society. So we can thank Gavin for that. And basically what you're looking at is a trace by the condensation there, or clouds, of wave action in the atmosphere. Now when we get thunderstorms like we had yesterday, it creates ripples or waves in the atmosphere. Remember, the atmosphere is a fluid. It's just like water in a way. Of course, I mean, there are some differences, obvious differences, but fundamentally, waves travel through the atmosphere the same as they would travel through water. They propagate, and when we have thunderstorms, that causes waves to propagate, And if there is enough condensation and the winds are light enough to carry it along, then you'll get these pretty asperatus clouds. There is also another classification of asperatus called asperatus undulatus. You never knew there were going to be all these new words here on the Weather Show at 9. And I'm not making this stuff up. I mean, some of it's based on Latin, but all from the Cloud Appreciation Society. I took this picture. You can see St. Boniface down here. This is from the station, so I'm looking south. And the undulatus is because the wave period, or the space between one wavelength, the peak of the wave and the bottom, is longer, so you get this nice kind of curvy look to it. And then mammatus clouds have been around, of course, forever as well, and those are much more dramatic but formed in much the same way. There's a little more turbulence and up and down, and these typically will appear in conjunction with thunderstorms, oftentimes severe thunderstorms. So mammatus clouds getting their name from mammatus, or mammary gland, right? You think of a cow's udder, and it kind of gives you the idea there of what the clouds look like. So anyhow, just a little cloud knowledge for you there in the science corner. We'll see if there are any more questions here. I don't think we have any. So we will go ahead and wrap it up. These are going to be pretty short First Alert weather shows at 9 p.m. Given the lack of really impactful or wild weather out there. And hopefully we will maintain this pattern for a while, but we do need to get a little more action in there just to keep it interesting for all concerned. And we could use some rain too. A lot of you are probably preparing to plant grass seed and things like that. So we're kind of in this fine line. The farmers are probably now wanting things to dry, and cutting hay and stuff like that, where you don't want the rain. And yet if your yard is turning brown and you're out twice a day watering your garden, you probably do want a little rain. So somehow we'll strike a balance for all concerned parties. Anyway, I appreciate you watching the Weather Show here at 9. I will see you on 14 News at 10 o'clock. Stay safe and have a good night.